So welcome to my channel. I am recording. We're going to use the Marian Smith Designs paper collection tonight in the this is the Mad Tea Party Wonderland paper, and this is the B side of it, which is on the other side of the mat. And we're going to make this cute little Easter basket, which is adorable, and I'm going to make the flower for you guys live so you can see how I did it. If we have time, I have a second flower that I would like to make for the basket I do tonight, but that's as time is permitted. And then I didn't pull the card out, but I also have a card that I want to share with you guys tonight. It's a mixed media card. I think it's fun when you can give a gift like this and a handmade card to accompany it. So we're going to make both of these projects tonight. Both are simple and shouldn't take too long. The mixed media one, let me turn one of these lamps off and see if you can see the texture on it, but it has really nice texture. There we go. It has some really nice texture on it, so we're going to play around with the design. This is part of Dynamite Dies' April sketch challenge on their blog. So it's Anne-Marie or Peggy1. Peggy, could you drop the link for Dynamite's blog on the chat for everybody? And then for those of you who are watching the recording, I will place it down in the bottom in the description for you guys so you can play along. This is a monthly challenge that Dynamite's hosts, and I drew the sketch for this month. So there's also a dare that goes along with this, and it's called the dare is to use an egg. Since it's Easter, I thought an egg would be appropriate. So they coordinate really nicely. Could you imagine getting a cute little basket like this for Easter, along with some goodies in the basket and then this beautiful card to go with it? Thank you, Anne-Marie. Yes, I got a whole new setup this time, so it should be fun. I'm not doing everything upside down, so hopefully things will be a little straighter. So let's go ahead and get started. I like to work on my wet mediums first. I want to kind of show you guys some of the products that we're going to use. We're going to do this paper, and this is the B side of the paper, which is the side that we're going to use. And then I'm also going to use a small piece of burlap, and this is all for the basket. And then for the basket, we're also going to use Marian Smith's peony petal die. And that's what I did. Was when I got my dies, I took a strip of magnetic tape and I put it on the card so it would stay with it, and then I adhered all of the little die pieces to the magnetic strip so it all stayed together. Oh, I think okay, wait, if you're gonna drop links, I think you have to go up and allow links somewhere. Suzanne always did it, so I don't really know where. I think it happens. Who's clever? Oh, with the with the tape. I don't know how to add links. Suzanne used to do it. The link is showing up on your end? Okay, because it shows censored on my end. Okay, alright, as long as everybody else can see it. I can't see it. It says I'm censored. Okay, perfect, because it shows censored on my side. Okay, so for the dies that we're going to use today, to make this flower, I'm going to use the peony die. And we're going to use these 3 pieces on the peony die, the 3 bigger pieces. And then on this die, if we have time to make the 3rd flower, we're going to use this one, but I mean the 2nd flower, but I don't know if I'm going to have time. So, and this is the small rose petal die from Marian Smith Designs. And then we're also going to use this die set from Marian Smith Designs, and this is the leaves and stamen. And like I said before, I just took a piece of magnetic strip tape and put it onto the card so it stayed together, and just attached my dies to that, and I have it still in the packaging. I do have some Ziploc bags that are this size that I'll probably end up moving this to the Ziploc bag. But for now, this is working for me. And then for the dynamite dies on the Easter basket, we're going to use this die, which is the spring branch. Love it. Look at how pretty that is. And the cool thing about this is it has a really small butterfly here and a little bird here and a little bird here. So there's a lot you can do with this die. You can cut it apart and use it as filigree throughout all your things. Peggy can drop you a link to this die from Die-namites. All of the supplies that I used tonight will be listed in the follow-up blog post for tomorrow. So we're also going to use a piece of Marion's Junk and Gems. So I have that here. And we're going to use, so that's all for the basket. Oh, and I'm going to use an EK Success punch, but any labels punch will work. And then I'm going to use the Heidi Swap, some of the Heidi Swap archival ink. And then for my sentiment, I have these recollection stamps that are, these are called holidays, I think. It doesn't have a name, but it says like Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Happy Birthday, and then Happy Easter. So I'm going to use the Happy Easter on this. And this is why is that blocking those? This is ridiculous. I don't know where Suzanne always adds the censor. I think as moderators you can uncensor it by clicking on it and it's saying I don't know, it might censor me. Let me see if it, chat options, hang on, turn on pause chat, allow links. Okay, I fixed it. Okay, I fixed it, guys. Drop a link again and let's see if it fixes it. I'm sorry for those of you who are watching the recording. They're trying to drop links and they can't. Anne-Marie, you're a mod again. Okay, so this is a recollection stamp, and then for the card I'm going to use, and then of course paper for my die cuts and some mist, but we'll go over those as we get to them. And then for my card I'm going to use this die from Die-namites. It is the Delicate Egg. Gorgeous. So we're going to use that for the card. And then some various mists and mixed media items. And then I also have the stamp that I'm going to use. This is a script stamp and it's from Stampabilities, and I have had it for ages. It's called Faded Text Background. It's a great texture stamp. It's really great. So I recommend anytime you can find a big script stamp to go ahead and get it. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to work on my card first because I want to, it's going to have a lot of wet mediums on it and I want to give them an opportunity to dry. So I'm going to start out with a card base that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I am actually going to, when I do mixed media cards, what I try to do is I do a top coat and then I can apply it to the card without messing up the back of my card or getting this card piece messy. So I'm just going to kind of put this to the side and we'll adhere it later. But for now I want to go ahead and start working on this, and I have my little, I need to pull this out for just a second because I want to keep my work surface as clean as possible tonight. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to take my gelatos, and I have the pale pink gelato, and I want to cover this entire card with this gelato. Now you would probably be best if you actually took the time to gesso this card before you did it, but I kind of want it to be a little uneven, so I'm just going to be very liberal with it when I put the gelato on. And this color, I don't have a color on this one, but it's the pale pink gelato. And then I'm going to take a baby wipe, because I have found that they actually do much better smearing them around if you have a baby wipe. So I'm going to take a baby wipe, and I'm going to kind of in circular motion, I'm going to wet this. Actually, I probably just need to wet it really good. Let me get my, this is just plain water. We're going to wet it, and then I'm going to take this baby wipe and just work this color in to the card. And it's going to pill up on me just a little bit, but that's okay. Like I said, this is going to have so many different layers on it by the time it's over. I kind of want it to look washed and uneven, so that's why I didn't gesso it first. If you want a smoother look, then by all means make sure you gesso it. And last month I gave the tip to pre-gesso a bunch of your paper ahead of time, so that whenever you use your intricate die cuts, they're already gessoed, so it makes it much easier for you to color them. So let me get this smoothed in really well. And now that I've got a good layer of moisture on this card, I'm going to just go back and add just a little more gesso. I mean just a little more gelato. And like I said, you really kind of, the look I'm going for is messy. It's not perfect. And I do want it to have uneven color. So that's, again, that's why I didn't gesso it first. Then I'm going to come back with my gesso. And where this is, let's see. Where's my gesso? There it is. Okay, so then I'm going to take my gesso, and it's kind of dried out a little bit, so I'm just going to add a lot of water to it. And I have a popsicle stick up here that I'm going to swirl that around with, get it a little damper. I usually put my gessos in these tubs so that they I don't mess up my bigger tub of gesso, but this one I don't think there's enough gesso in it to really do anything with, so let me grab my bigger bottle. And I use the Liquitex gesso. I also really, the full body gesso I really like from Liquitex as well. So see, I just put a little bit into a container, and then I just keep this container out on my desk. And this is a surface prep gesso, so it's a little thinner than the full body, and we're probably going to have to use the full body tonight too. So I'm going to put this down here on my mat, and then I'm going to pick up with a baby wipe, and I'm going to rub that over the top, and that's going to tone down that pink color, and it's going to kind of make those streaks look like I did them on purpose. It just gives a really nice layer and softness to this card. Daddy's home. Boo's been rescued by Daddy. Let me put a little bit more on there. And I want the streaked. I really do want the streaked look, because I think that's what gives it that shabby chic, vintage, older look to it. Okay, so it's probably hard to tell. Artie Dar, hey honey bun. I've been missing you. So there's my card. See, so you can see in the light, it's streaked, but that was the look I was going for. So the next thing I want to share with you guys is I have a silhouette cameo, and I bought a background that was butterflies, and I think this is the coolest way to make stencils, because when these things get messed up or junked up, you can always move on to something else. You know, like throw it away and print it and cut it out again. But the cool thing is you have all these beautiful butterflies for your projects. So what I want to do today is I'm going to take some full body gesso, or you could use modeling paste, but since I'm going to be doing this for a card, I didn't want the bulky weight of the modeling paste, so I'm going to just use a really heavy, thick gesso. And this stuff is super thick. Like, the difference in consistency here is this is watery and this is a surface prep. And then see how thick this is? It's really thick. It's almost like Play-Doh. It's super thick. So what I want to do is, for my card drawing, I want to kind of focus more on this side because I'm going to have my egg here, and I don't want my butterflies to really compete with my egg. So I really want to make sure that I you know, get my butterflies lined up with how I want them. Remember that my card has this banner here in the center, so I really want to make sure that I get some of these little teeny tiny butterflies, because I think that gives a little more interest when there's a bunch of smaller pieces. So I'm going to line it up about right here, and I'm going to take this, and I just want a little tiny bit, and I'm going to rub it almost at an complete 90-degree angle across, and be very careful. Now you don't want to, since this is cardstock, this is not stencil material, you don't want to use a runny substance. You want this to be a thicker substance, like modeling paste or this thick bodied gesso. I've been doing great, Miss Artie Dar. I have been very busy. I have been super busy, but I like busy. Now, I'm not going to worry too much about the center section because I'm going to have paper there, but I do want to make sure I capture some butterflies down here towards the bottom. Look at how cute those are. And this was done, look at that. These were done with modeling paste, but with gesso, but it looks like modeling paste. Isn't that cool? And then I'm going to come down here to the bottom, and I'm going to add a few more just right here. And the cool thing is that when this thing is all junked up, like I said, you can just throw this in the trash. No harm, no foul. The die was I got it on sale for clearance, so it was like 50% off. So I like when they run those sales, I like to go in there and buy up a bunch of these little backgrounds and masks and things. And you know, to make your dollar really go further, it's really cool to look for designs that have additional designs. Like, look at all these different designs of butterflies that I have off of this one cut file. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this to the side. I really want it to dry up a little bit before I go on to the next step. So we're going to go on and move on and go on to our next wet medium. So that will be something that has to do with our basket. So I'm going to put all this stuff away, get it out of my way, and I'm going to put this over here to the side to let it dry for a minute. And again, I don't need this gesso just yet. Put that away. We might need it later. Now the next thing I want to do is my egg, and like I said, we're going to use the delicate egg die from Die-Namites, and this cuts like butter, guys. Look at how beautiful it is. Oh my gosh, Artie Dar cut my teeth on mixed media. Let me tell you, I love Artie Dar. Love her, love her, love her. If you guys are not familiar with her channel, you need to go back and look at some of her videos. She hasn't posted too many lately, but the older ones still archived. Go check it out. Fantastic artist, super brilliant. I'm making a basket. Let me show you the basket. We're going to make a mixed media card and this beautiful basket. And here's the card we're going to make tonight. So I'm going to use some acrylic gold paint from, this is Adirondacks metallic gold paint. Any gold paint would work. I just think, you know, it's so special when you find the golden egg. So I wanted to make sure my egg was gold. So I just, in fact, this is probably almost dried up. So we're just going to finger paint tonight. I like finger painting. It's so fun. But anyway, what I was thinking was, you know, it's so fun whenever you find the golden egg at the Easter egg hunt. It's like you feel like you've gotten the prize. Well, I wanted my card to be like that. When someone got the card, I wanted them to go, oh, look, it's the golden egg. I found the golden egg. I know that sounds a little cheesy, but that's what I was thinking when I painted my egg gold. Plus, it's the focal point on the card, so I really wanted it to stand out. And for those of you that are just joining us, this was actually a post that went live today for Dynamite Dies on the blog. So it's dynamite with a hyphen between, it's die-namites, so dynamites, blog.com. Excuse me, Peggy, I messed that up. Could you totally drop the link to that in there? Anyway, there's a sketch challenge going on this month, so go check it out. Anne-Marie won last month, so you know, it's a lot of fun to play along. You just link up your blog post, but look at that. Look at how gold and shiny that is. Isn't that pretty? Hi, Darcy. Welcome. We're recording, so for those of you who are checking in late or maybe had trouble logging in, we are recording. So there's our egg, and I want to let that dry for just a minute. And I'm going to move on to my next messy project, which is actually going to be for the basket. I like to go ahead and get all my wet stuff done first so that I can not have to listen to that heat gun going off. So let's switch gears for a little bit, let those two things dry, and talk about coloring up our things for our dies, because we're going to make this flower. We're going to make this flower, and my flower was white, and then I inked it up with some ink, so I'll show you that when we work on it. But these leaves were already colored when I die cut them, so I'm going to show you guys how I colored them. They're very shabby chic, and I just love them. And then I'm also going to show you how I colored up the stamens here in the center. So my advice is, whenever I have to do flowers, or when I'm doing leaves and things like that for flowers, I went and bought, this is an old pad, so I don't have the thing on it, but this is an old drawing pad from Mead. And it's drawing paper, and it kind of has a little bit of a parchment feel to it, but it's cheap paper. I probably paid less than $5 for it, and it was this huge pad that was like 18 by, I guess this is 12 by 20, maybe it was 12 by 24, I don't know, but anyway, it was the huge pad. And then I took it to an office supply store, and I had them cut it down to 3-inch strips. So that way these fit perfectly on my strip dies. So that's a little tip for you. I love to make flowers out of this thinner paper because it seems to hold its weight a little better, and it just seems to be easier to work with. So what I do is, typically I will take my papers that I want to do for like leaves, or if it's a colored flower, like say I was doing a sunflower and I wanted it yellow, I would pre-color all of my paper and then die cut it. That saves you so much time and energy. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Annette. Welcome, welcome, welcome. For those of you who are chiming in late, we're going to be making this little basket and a mixed media card, and we've already started, so everything's recorded. So anyway, so I've got these little strips, and I ended up with, I think, about 4 or 5 of them, and they're perfect for die cutting. So what I'll do is 3 at a time, and then I'll put 3 of these papers down and die cut, so I end up with 3 leaves per cut. So let me show you guys really quick how I colored the paper and what my technique is. Now, if I'm going shabby chic, sometimes I'll take some of this this gesso and just rub over the top of it. But if I'm gonna go with a little darker, then I'll come back with a ink pad and pick up some of the textures in here. But when I color my paper initially, I leave that as an option once I've die cut my flowers and I go to use them. So just letting you know, there's steps to all of this. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our first one, and I'm going to just show you really quick how to color up these papers. Now this is packing material, and to be honest with you, once this is fully saturated with the green, you could die cut this and it would be perfect. I just think it would be absolutely gorgeous. But this is like whenever I place an order with a company and they send you the brown packing material, that's what I use for this. Hi Jonna, hi Carol. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with my mist, and I always try to pick out at least 2 different colors of green. I like to have a dark color and a light color. And today I'm going to be using the Mantis chalkboard from Tattered Angels and the grass color. This is the baseboard from Tattered Angels. The difference between the two is that the chalkboards still have a little bit of a gold, or this one has a gold glimmer in it, where the baseboards are completely flat. So you have some shimmer and not a lot of shimmer. Before I begin, I want to spritz my paper really good with water. This is gonna, paper is like, it's like a sponge. It's gonna soak up everything, the sprays that you put on it, the wet mediums that you put on it. So what you want to do is, if you wet it first, then what's going to happen is your mediums, you're going to have less of your mediums to saturate the paper, if that makes sense. So I'm going to shake them up really good. I love my Tattered Angels. Okay, so we're going to spray those up. And you, like I said, you don't want full coverage. You want it splotchy, because you're going to come back with the second color, and that's going to give you your vibrancy. Okay? Remember, you can always darken it later. And all of this pulled up color that we have here, I'm just going to take my fingers and I'm going to work it right on in. Now, when I move this around, when I flip it over, some of that ink is going to be picked up from below, and I'm going to just, continue to blot and pick it up until it's all covered. Now, I want my leaves to be a little darker, so I'm going to put just a little bit more. And I have quite a bit of ink still left here, so if I see all this gold that's on this paper, if I hit this with water, then that gold gets reactivated, and that gold, it was actually some of the Heidi Swapp gold lame, which is like my favorite gold. If she ever stops making that, I'm probably going to cry. It's not a brassy gold, which is why I like it. It's really natural. Now I'm going to wad this up like a spitball. I know that sounds disgusting, but I'm going to roll it out just like this. And I still have a few spots that aren't covered. So what I'm going to do is just flip that over and pick up the color from right here off my mat. And if I feel like I still need just a hint more of a darkness, I can always come back and add a little bit more and darken it up. This is my darker value, which is the baseboard, which is called grass, which I felt was an appropriate leaf color. And then I might need just a hint more gold, because I'm using more of the flat color than I am the I'm using more of the baseboard color, so there's not a lot of glimmer in it. And this one is so bright and the glimmer's in it, so I'm using it sparingly. So I'm just going to come right back over the top with some of Heidi Swapp's gold. And I just love, look at how that just popped it. It doesn't interfere with it. And you know, by all means, go through your mists and see what you have. I really think the more varied these colors are, the more fun they are. So I'm going to wad this up one more time, really work that color down into that fiber, and then what I typically do is I'll do 3 or 4 of these at one time, set them off to the side, and let them dry naturally on their own. Now tonight we're not going to need this because I've already done the process for you guys. So it's already completely dry, and this is what it looks like when it's dry. Isn't that a beautiful leaf color? And it's got a hint of gold in it, but it's subtle. Oh, Artie Dar just said I was the angel. Oh, I love her. Okay. Can you have what? The basket? Or the leaf? The basket? Artie, I probably owe you something, so yes, PM me your address. It's all yours, honey. Okay, so let's get going. Send me a Facebook notice with your address and I'll send it to you. Anything I make? Oh, you're so sweet. I feel that way about you, honey. Okay. Okay, so next, we got our wet mediums done, and I've got yuck fingers, and while I absolutely love yuck fingers, because yuck fingers are happy fingers, I am going to clean them up because I don't want yuck fingers all over my pink pastel pretty card. Okay, so I am going to clean them up. This little bottle right here is nothing but pure water. That's it. So I just don't want to get my card all yucked up, and it should be about dry by now. The gesso probably isn't completely dry, but let me get this really cleaned up good. So the next thing I want to do is get my card prepped here. I have my stamp. Might need to do a little bit of maintenance to my card here, but that's okay. It's shabby chic for a reason. Now I want to give you a hint about stamping. When you're stamping for background for mixed media, it's much better when it is irregular. So I'm using an archival ink pad in black. This is the jet black, and I'm just going to pounce it on there in some places. I don't care if I get it everywhere. That's really not my point here. And I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper, or a paper towel will work, and I'm just going to blot it up. And I might need we'll see if I might need a little more ink on here, because I might not have got it good. Yeah, because it didn't blot up. So this ink pad might be about dry, so I'm going to just squish it in there. There we go. Now I'm going to take a paper towel, and where this is squared off, I'm going to pick it up because I don't want that square look. And I'm not going straight down, I'm kind of going in at an angle because I don't want a smooth line for sure. And then I'm going to come back in here and pick some of these up in here. I want it very irregular, so that when I stamp, and I want you to realize that my gesso is still a little wet, and it might be just a little too wet, but we're going to see, because I want to stamp over these, and I want my impression of my stamp left in the butterfly. So it might be a complete total mess. We'll see. Yeah, perfect. So I'm going to repeat that process down here. Notice I'm not re-inking, but look at how cool that is. I don't even know if you guys can see it. I might have to turn the camera off for you guys to see it. Can you see? Isn't that cool? And it's just a little hint of the text right down here. Now it's still a little too black for me. I still want it to be just a little more subtle. So what I'm going to do is take my gesso that I have here and put a little bit on my finger, and I'm going to whitewash it right over the top. And that's going to kind of send some of that back down to the background where it belongs. And I'm doing it very light, very thin and very light. Because I really want that to be left in the background. Okay, now it's time to start decorating up my card. I need to probably draw this just a hair. Is everybody with me so far? So I'm going to heat dry this for just a second. So you guys, if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, so here's what we have now. Can you guys see that texture on there? See that? How cool is that? Now let's go ahead and build out our card. We have a piece of scrap left over from where I die cut out the basket that I'm going to use on the card. This way it coordinates really nicely, and I'm going to cover this piece up right here, but I want to give a nice soft edge to this, so I'm going to pull out my just any one of your little doily dies that you have in your stash, or doily border punches. And I'm going to try and center this. I'm not always the best at it, but if you get it kind of close to the center, then it lines up. It, you know, it has that nice even edge on it. Let's see how well I did. And this is one of the Martha Stewart doily dies. Oh, I'm actually done. So I didn't do too bad. Look at that. Okay, and that's going to go, make sure your text is going in the right direction in your butterflies. So that's going to go right here. And this is just a little too bright for me since we used all that gesso. So I'm just going to take a little bit more of that and just kind of dirty that up just a little bit. Just to kind of knock it back a little bit and send it more back towards the background. I use these tongue depressors all the time. Do you guys have a secret weapon for doing stuff like this? Like maybe a key card or an old credit card? I use these tongue depressors. We bought them one time when my son was in elementary school to use for some art project for school, and they never got fully used because you know you get thousands of them when you buy a box. So we're putting them to good use now. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. I'm just using ATG tape here. We're going to put that right over that edge right there. Anybody have any questions? Hi, Julianne. Now here's our beautiful egg die, and I want to put some lace across here, so I really want my die to pop up off the page. So I decided to go ahead and use just a piece of scrap white cardstock. But I think it's just a little too bright. So let me think, what do I want to hit it with? I might actually, let me see here if I have, oh, I've got my, let's use one of Tim's broken china. You think would go with it, or oh wait, let's use this one. I've already got it out. Sponge sugar, because it's a nice soft pink, and it might kind of give that illusion that it's up against that pink. And I'm just going to give it a really nice soft twirl around there. It's not a lot, but it just kind of helps to make this a little more vintage looking, a little darker, not so stark white. And then I'm going to take my egg and I'm going to lay it right over the top of that, and then I'm going to trim it out. So I'm going to use my Tombow mono adhesive to glue this down, but I seem to have buried it somewhere on this desk, and you guys probably don't have this problem ever, do you, where you bury something? Did I put it in here? No, but I am dropping stuff like crazy. Does anybody have any questions while I look for my glue that was sitting right here just an hour ago? Anne-Marie, did you steal my glue again? She likes to take my stuff. Oh my goodness, I don't know where it is, so we're just going to use hot glue. I'm just going to put little spots of hot glue on here. It's probably not the best, but it'll work in a pinch. It'll turn up. That's what my little nephew Cooper, every time he's over here, he'll say, well, Aunt Tonya, if you would clean up, you would find it. That's what my mama says. And I always giggle, because I always feel like he's so right. You know, if I just clean up after myself, I might find it. What I'm doing now is I'm just heating up that glue to get those glue strings off of there. Ideally, you want to use a wet medium, but I've lost it. Then I'm going to trim out around that. Oops. I'm going to trim out around that egg. That did not stick. Worth a flip. I've got to find my wet glue. Oh, there it is. I found it. I found it. This is so much better. This Tombow glue is the best. It glues everything down. And you don't need a lot of glue, but you do need enough to keep it stuck. That hot glue just wasn't going to make it. Okay, and then the trick is, if you over glue, just take a paper towel and pat it onto the paper towel to mop it up a little bit, and then put it back down. Okay, now that's going to have to sit for just a second and adhere down. So in the meantime, we'll just go ahead and cut it out. And I'm just going to trim out around that. And it's just going to give a really a nice base for this egg. And give our egg just a little more dominance and weight on this page, because it is so delicate. Look at how beautiful that is. It looks like one of those Fabergé eggs. Uh-oh. Boo forgot her bone is in here, and she's in here sniffing it out. She's like, where's my bone? Then I'm gonna before I put that down, I want to go ahead and add my lace and stuff. And when I put lace on something, I like to do a couple of layers. It just kind of helps to add a little bit of richness and depth to this. So see how pretty that is? It's just so delicate. And I need to use, what did I do with it? I'm going to take another piece of this paper, that is, let's see here, this is just the negative from the basket. Cut it down to size and maybe cut off a little bit here. Doesn't have to be straight because you're not going to see it. And then I'm going to take and line it up on my punch again. I know this seems like it's going to take forever, but that basket's going to come together so fast. The card really took the longest time. There we go. Put all of this in the trash. So we're going to start out with our next layer, which is going to be this, and I'm going to put a little bit of my my ATG tape right across there. Does anybody have any questions so far? And then I'm going to take my lace, I'm going to lay it down. And when I put my lace down, I'm going to kind of come down just a little bit, about a quarter of the way in. Right across there. All these layers are what make these cards so fun, I think. And then the next thing I want to do is add, I have this other trim. I like to layer a couple of layers of lace, or some kind of trim, one on top of the other. I just think it looks so cool. And I have this one, and there's a lot of colors going on here, but I think I like it. It reminds me of Easter with all these fun pastel colors. The kids all dressed up in their cute little Easter outfits. And notice when I do this, I go right over the edge of the card, because then I can have a really good clean edge on my sides here. Okay. Isn't it gorgeous? Look at how beautiful that is. Then it's time to add our showcase piece, and I like to take these because it gives a little bit of depth to it, and since we're going all grunged up and everything anyway, I kind of like to take these and kind of rough them up a little bit and give them a little interest, just kind of elevate them a little. And then I'm going to take my egg here and add it to a pop dot. And it's going to go right here. And then it's time to add me some flowers. And I think for this card I'm going to add a little more flowers than what I had on the first one. Whoops. I'm going to add, I have these little daisies. I think they're so fun. Let me see before I glue them down. Oh yeah, I think they fill the space a little better. Well, that wasn't what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do is take these roses, and I'm going to peel off this green piece, and then I'm going to take this stem. Well, not with that one. That one's too big. And just wrap it around something and give it some little curly cues. And I'm going to place that right in the center. And then pull it down back behind the daisy, so it actually looks like the curly cue is coming from the daisy and not from the rose. See how that works? So I'm going to place that right there. Same thing here. Put this down here. And I'm just pulling this green piece off because it's not the most attractive. I'm going to put this right here. this around here, giving it some little curly cues. Anybody have any questions while I do this? And then I'm going to push this way back down here underneath that daisy so it looks like it's coming up that way. Look at how cute that is. Now before I get too crazy, because I might have to put this one here, I need to stamp my sentiment. So I have it here, and these all came on a strip. For those of you who missed it at the beginning of the class, these were from Recollections, and they're just sentiments for holidays. So what I did was, this was one strip that was a solid piece, and I cut it so it's in two pieces because I like the happy. And now the sentiment's supposed to go here, but I'm thinking it's probably going to have to go down here because I've eat up too much room with this. So that's okay. We go with the flow. So I'm going to get my happy going first. So I have it on my block, and then I'm going to use the Heidi Swap pink again. And it's going to go right here. And of course I have put the flowers down, so do it again. I need to cheat the block up here at the top. So I'm going to do happy right here, like that. And then I'm going to put Easter up there. My Easter's not wanting to stick. I think it's because I had ink on my block right there. And let's glue that down. And I think I want it to kind of be a little off center. Maybe right there. Happy Easter. What you guys think? Then now I can decorate. I can add another flower right over here. Pull this green off. I like to work in thirds. Whoops. This one doesn't want to come off. And I don't think I want the curly Q on that one, so I'm just going to peel the whole thing off and place that right there in the center. And voila. Now it's time to, let's just take these and pull them around to the back and glue them down. And now it's time to add it to our card, but before we do, I want to take my We Are Memory Keepers corner rounder, and I'm going to use the 1/4 inch rounder, and I'm going to round this edge right down here at the bottom. I just think that gives it a nice little finished look. And my card is actually a little bit smaller than the one on top, I mean on the bottom, so I do want to quarter round those as well. Crunch, crunch. And because this is so heavy, I think I'm going to go ahead and just add a little score tape to it to get it to hold down, because well, let me just use hot glue. I think it'll be fine. We work fast. And make sure it's centered. And there you go. So there we have our Easter card done. It's now time to work on our basket. So there's our Easter card. Nice little mixed media card. And again, this die is from Die-namites, and this is part of our monthly sketch challenge, and it just started, so you have a whole month to take and create something using this sketch. And it's on the blog, so Peggy can post the link to the blog there. So there's that. Now I'm going to take all of these little pieces, I'm going to clean up, and let's get ready to work on our basket. Does anybody have any questions on our mixed media card? Any ideas? I can't wait to see what you guys create with these because they're super fun to work with. So I'm going to put my I'm going to take the time to clean up really quick so I don't lose that little stamp, because I'm notorious for losing my stamps because I don't put them away right away. And I get people ask me all the time if I clean my stamps, and you know what? Some of them I do and some of them I don't. I do wipe them all off with baby wipe before I put them away, but I don't take the time to scrub them completely clean. I just don't. Okay, we don't need that anymore. We won't need this, and we don't need this anymore. Just try and get all of this out of the way so you guys can focus on this basket, because that's what you all are here to see. So here's our basket, and just put this down there. This is our basket. It's super easy. You guys are going to die. Okay, so I picked out a cut from the Silhouette store, but I was very careful. It's by Lori Whitlock, and the link to it I will put in the follow-up post. For those of you who have a Silhouette cameo, you could use any basket design, guys. Go through all your dies and everything and just pick out what you have. So I left this on the mat because I wanted to show you when this cut out. I cut it to 100%, but there were some other pieces that were on this that I wanted to not cut. And then because this paper has all of these fabulous fussy cut elements on it, I set it up so that I could see where those elements would land with the die cut, because I knew I was going to be using the back side, so that I could fussy cut some of those elements out and use them on my basket. So pay attention to that when you're cutting double-sided paper. This is also a great project for those paper stacks that you have. You know, if you have some that have a pastel pattern to them, this would be a great project for that, and use them up, get rid of them. But I just loved this pattern from Marion Smith Designs. It's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful feminine pattern that I had to have it. So this is what it looks like when it cuts out. And you have the handle up here at the top. But notice that I left the mushrooms. That butterfly got a little bit of him got sacrificed, but if I cut him out just right, I could tuck him under a flower right here and you would never know. So that could be saved. This one we're going to use on our basket. This one we're going to use on our basket. This could be used on another project. So you've got a lot of little fussy cut elements that you could use on other projects, like maybe even your card. You know, some of these butterflies could easily be added to the card. So I'm going to put this to the side for right now. Go ahead and peel the rest of this up. Be very careful. This has been sitting on this mat for way too long. It's a brand new mat. I probably shouldn't have left it on there. So be very careful when you lift it up. And again, if you have another electronic cutter, look in the cartridges or the files that you have and see what you got, because there's lots of files out there, lots of SVG files for baskets. I just happen to have a Silhouette cameo, and I got this from the Silhouette store. And again, it's Lori Whitlock's page. So I'm going to put that mat out of the way. Now I'm going to bend these up. And notice how the inside of my basket is going to have some random little pieces, like these little teacups and things. You may like that look. And actually this basket would be super cute too if you were taking it to a tea party. You know, like if you wanted to do party favors at a tea party, how cute would this be with this side up like this? Wouldn't that be super cute? with the little teacups and things hanging from the side of the basket. This is the Marian Smith Designs Mad Tea Party line, and this particular paper is called Wonderland. So you want to bend your tabs, and then we're going to add score tape to our tabs. I wanted something very secure, and if you're going to put some heavy things in there, you may actually want to take a piece of chipboard and cut it out and use it as your base at the bottom too, but I don't think it's necessary for what I'm doing, so I'm just going to move on. And then you're going to add your score tape right to this edge, and I'm just using a 1/4 inch score tape. And I never can get that to tear right. I see people who tear it, and I do better if I cut it. This is such a beautiful, delicate basket. I just love it. So this is what we have now, and all you're going to do is, I like my edges to be clean. You could always do them to the outside if you wanted to, but I like my edges to be clean, so I'm going to glue to the inside. You could use the red line tape if you had it. I would use something a little stronger than HEG tape. You could also use wet glue if you wanted to. I would not use hot glue because I just don't think hot glue is sturdy enough. You could probably use it to do some things, but you want to make sure you get your edges lined up before you attach your score tape. Okay? Same thing here. Make sure you're lining up with your edge. Isn't this pattern just gorgeous? And now it matches our card. And look at how simple that came together. Now I do like to apply a little bit of pressure on those to make sure they're good and tight. I've got a good bond and seal on them. And this is our basket. Now even without the handle, this is super adorable. Could you imagine this with little tea bags stacked in it? So freaking cute. I'm a lacy kind of girl too. I love my lace. Okay, so here's our handle, and our handle has this like stuff that just doesn't look too good on the inside. So I was thinking that it would be super nice to go ahead and soften it up a bit by using a little bit of lace. So I've gone through my stash and looked through to see what I could find, and just thought this was just absolutely gorgeous, and it kind of already has a little line here for me to use as a guide. So I'm going to go a little past the handle on each side to glue down into the basket. So let's go ahead and glue that down, and again I'm just going to put, I just need a little bit of glue. I don't need to be crazy with it. I just need a little bit here, and you could use the beacon glue if you wanted to. This is going to go to the underside, and before that gets too, I'm going to go ahead and line that up right there. I think this just adds that little touch of feminine, that little feminine touch. It kind of softens up all the hard edges of the paper and just makes it super girly. My nieces are going to love this. Okay. Now, this comes with a hole for a brad, but I didn't end up using the brad. I didn't need it. So if you wanted to secure it even more, you could put the brad through. The holes are already made for you. And I do like that my basket is going to go, I want my handle to go towards the inside of the basket, and I'm going to use the holes on the basket to line it up. So again, using a brad might actually make that a little easier. Crepe paper would be great on this too. Crepe paper would be super fab. So I'm going to just use that. Oops, where is it? I lost the hole. Did I unplug my heat gun? It turned off. My heat gun turned off. Hold on. I'm experiencing some technical difficulties today. We're just using score tape. Have you guys ever had one of those days where you're completely out of sync? I woke up an hour late to get to work this morning. I was only 30 minutes late to work, but I was still late. Then I left work 30 minutes late. It's just been one of them days, and I'm just completely out of sync. Do you guys ever have days like that? Maybe the brad would have been easier because you could have seen it better. There we go. The lace kind of makes it hard to see the hole. Okay, so I got that one, and then I'm going to come around here to this side, and I may need to add just a little bit more glue right there. Another glue that would be really probably better would be the Beacon 4-in-1 glue or some kind of Fabri-Tac glue. I did not have this much trouble when I was making this the first time, but it helps when your glue gun stays plugged in. What are you talking about, glitter on the thing? Okay, so here we go. There's our handle. So see, now I didn't like how confusing this looked on the inside, so I pulled out some burlap and cut myself out a little piece. I think this we'd probably just need about half of this. This is bleached white burlap. The last one I did was a brown burlap. It looked really fabulous too. And all I did was tuck it in. I wanted it to fray on the edges. I really like that frayed look, but it kind of helps to camouflage some of that stuff that's going on the inside of that basket and just kind of eliminate some of the chaos that's in there. Now, in my original one, I did not glue anything down. I just kind of pulled and tucked at it until it kind of fell where I wanted it to fall. So that's what it looks like now. Isn't that adorable? But for the sake of this one, because it's going to be a stinker, I'm going to go ahead and pull it down and kind of put a little spot of glue here and just a little spot of glue here. Like that. Oh, we're doing good on time. I just think this makes it look like a little Red Riding Hood basket. I don't know, with that little, so pretty. And then right here, just put a little spot of glue right here. And again, this is just going to kind of help to reinforce that handle just a little bit more too. Kind of help to hold it in place. The Easter Bunny's going to deliver yours. Yeah, I'm going to hold my breath for that one. Okay, so there's that. Now it's time to decorate the basket. That's the fun part, right? So for those of you who are joining us a little bit early or a little bit late, we are going to use the Dynamite Dies Spring Branch, and this is what it looks like. Isn't it gorgeous? Love it. And I'm going to color this up with some of my Tim Holtz Distress ink pens. You could use your Copics, you could use anything you have. I just like the look of these because they have that kind of vintage tone to them. And I'm going to use the spun sugar, I'm not going to use the birds for this, so let's just save them. I'll cut them off of here. You know, nothing says that you have to keep the die in one piece. You can cut them apart. There is no law that says you can't. And I can use those little fellas on some other project some other time. And then for my stem, I think I used brushed corduroy because it has a nice green tinge to it. It's brown, but it's green. So all I did was I just came in here and brushed that down like this in some spots. And then I took my water brush, which I did not leave out. Let me grab it out of my box up here and try not to knock everything over. And then just kind of even it out with the water brush. It helps that the water is actually coming out of the water brush. There we go. Just had to get it started. And then just color those in, not being too particular with it, just get the ink on there. This is so relaxing to me. I love to sit and color. Don't worry about those bleeding in, because we're going to do some pink on here and that bleeding is going to just kind of fade away. This brushed corduroy has a nice, it's almost like a forest green. I almost think he named it the wrong color. Because it does have kind of a nice green undertone to it. We started a little bit late tonight because people were kind of slow logging in. I'm always on the first Monday of the month. I can only do one a month right now because I've got too many other commitments. My son is still in high school, so we have a lot of things we do during the week with him. Now this is the spun sugar. I missed a spot. I missed a spot. And I didn't tell you this, but you really need to kind of color both sides because some of this might get seen from the opposite side, so it won't take but a second. We're almost done. It won't take long to put that flower together because I have most of the work done already. All of the hod pot. And to me, this is the fun part, is decorating up the basket. And again, you just want to kind of add a little bit of color to the spots you missed. And I took my time and got those a little bit neater for that first one. Take your time. There's not a race. But my card's going to be so beautiful with my little Easter basket. Okay, so now we're going to flip it over and do the back sides. You do have to be super careful when you're running your ink across here because these are delicate. They're very delicate, so you don't want to rip off the edges, but because we're going to cut this into pieces, it'll be alright if we rip a little bit of it, because you won't see it. We're going to cut it apart. I love to buy dies that can be cut apart and tucked in and moved around in all different places. I think it just adds a little bit more value to your die cuts. Probably could have gotten a little bit bigger, blotting paper. So anybody got any exciting projects that they're currently working on that they'd like to share with the group? We've got some talented people in here tonight, and I know there's a lot of creativity on this in this group tonight. If you guys end up making any of these projects, please make sure you share them with me on Facebook or YouTube, and tag me in the post. I love to see it. When I think somebody did that today, they shared a project that they had made that I had inspired. So I love it when you guys do that, because I get to see the results of my teachings, and it's so fun to get to share those moments with you guys and see what you guys are making. I just love it. So please, please, please share it with me. There's also an Artsy Addicts challenge that's going on right now too, that I've instigated for April, and it's a washi tape card that I made, that I shared on Friday, and it's on my blog, and it's on the Artsy Addicts blog, and I think it's on my Facebook wall and everywhere else, so you guys go check it out. I've been trying to share some sketches in there as well, to encourage you guys to use up your supplies that you have invested so much money in, because I'm the worst about, I'll buy it, and I'll buy it in triplicate and quadruple form, and then what happens is I end up getting busy and I just buy, and I never go back and use them. So my goal this year is to kill off some of these kits that have pieces and parts left to them, and paper stacks that are just a few pieces left to them. And just so I'm going to be sharing a lot of projects. You guys are going to see a lot of projects with some vintage products, but I firmly believe that if you add something old with something new, it kind of helps to clear out that stash. And we fell in love with all of these products when we bought them, so it's nice to get to use them. Okay, so now I'm done with this guy. Look at how cute he is. He's got some white spots, but that's okay. You're probably not going to notice them too much. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to take them, place them on a really thick piece of foam, and then to give them a little life, I'm just going to rub over the edges of the bigger blossoms and just kind of bend them down a little bit, give them some depth and dimension. I think this is really one of those details that helps it come to life. It takes it from something flat to okay, so now we've got this done. So let's go and add it back to our basket. And I want it to kind of come up the rail of the basket like this, okay? And I gotta decide which side do I want where, and I think I want it to go this way. Actually, no, I want it to go this way, because I curled it that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off this branch right here. Just like that. And I'm going to lay this right up here like this. See how delicate that is? I just love it. And where is my... I'm going to take just a little bit of this mono adhesive. Just, I don't have to put it on everything, but just the piece that comes up the handle. Okay. And then I'm going to put my flower down, and then I'll come back and decide what I want to add this to. But I think I'm going to, for now, to save time, I think I'm going to put it off on this side over here and decorate this back side of the basket. I might come back and add just a little bit more with the other one, but I don't want to take the time to color it right now. So for now, I'm just going to do this. And I'm going to decorate both sides of the basket because I think that, you know, one side will probably have less decoration on it, but I think it kind of adds something to it whenever, just hold that in place for just a second. Okay. Now, this is the flower we're going to make, and I've already made one of them because I wanted to save a little bit of time. So this is the flower. This is going to be made with the Marion Smith dies, and I think I'm going to put it back here on the back. So I'm just going to take a little bit of glue. Why I keep turning off my hot glue gun. I think I unplugged it by accident. Or I keep... So let me show you how to make that. Let me show you how to make that flower real fast. So what I'm going to do is, for the peony dies from Marion Smith, you're going to need 5 or 6 of these petals, and of course the more petals you use, the thicker the die, the thicker it's going to get. So I've already prepped these, but I've left a few unprepped so I can show you how to do it. Let's see, there's 4 there, there's 3 there, we have 4 there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, then we have the small ones, okay, so this is what we're gonna do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's 6 there, there's that one, and that one, and that one. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. So I take the die, and when I go to cut them, I take these strips of paper that we talked about at the beginning for the leaves. I usually take 3 of them and lay them down. I take 3 sheets, and then I lay my die on it and I cut them. And I cut all of these shapes out at one time, and then I do that all the way down the strip. So I end up with a bunch of these petals left over. And you can cut, this paper is very thin. For those of you who are just joining me, this was a pad of drawing paper. It has a parchment feel to it, and it was about this big. I mean, it was huge. And I take and have my office supply place cut the pad down to 3-inch strips so it fits my dies. So I've already pre-cut all of these dies, and I've already pre-prepped them except for 2 because I want to show you guys how to do it. So all I did was, now when Marion's Prima tool comes out, I mean listen to me, Marion's Blossom Impressions tool comes out, this is going to be such an easier process. But I'm just going to take the die cut right out of the box. I'm going to lay it across my thumb like this, and then I have my spun sugar, and I'm going to press it across this way, and then I'm going to come back this way. And that's all I did for every one of these to get this look. Then I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut one of these petals off the base. Okay? That's all I did for every one of these. Do it in front of a TV one night and just throw them in a little bucket, and you can assemble them later or assemble them all at one time. Then these are the little stars, and what I did was I took some of this paper and I used Copic marker YR31, and you want one of these to stay white because you're going to need it for your flower, and then the rest of them, what I did was I colored onto this paper like this, and it comes out splotchy, and since this paper is so thin, it does it on both sides, and then I die cut it. So die cut it after you color the paper. You can also use your sprays, your glimmer mists, whatever, to color this paper, but color it before you die cut it, or else you're going to end up sitting here with each one of these and coloring them up. Now, as far as the number of these that you're going to need, I say no less than 8. You need actually 9, because you need one that's white, but no less than 8, and the more you do, the fuller the flower is going to look. So let's go ahead and get started on this piece first. We're going to take the first one and we're going to roll it up into a ball just like this, and we're going to put just a little spot of glue right there. Then we're going to take the next one right there, wad it up into a ball, next spot of glue, and take the next one, this is the third one, roll it up into a ball, this is the fourth one, roll it up into a ball, and glue it. Here's the fifth one, and I'm turning these so that they're all different, because the star shape has some long pieces and some short pieces. So I'm turning it as I go so that everything's not all lined up with the short piece in all those same places. And you just keep layering and layering like that until you get as much thickness as you want. And I personally think the more of these you do, the better it looks. That's my opinion. And here's my last one. I think I've done about 10 of them so far. But the more of these little yellow ones you do, the better it looks to me. So I'm just going to take this and wad it up and set it to the side and let it dry. And this is what it looks like all wadded up. See how that, isn't that cool? It's so relaxing to me. You know, it's just a very relaxing process. Could you put bought flowers on here? Absolutely. You know, this is a lot of work, but for me, this is relaxing, and this is a great way for me to use up scrap papers. So for this next one, I'm going to take one of these little stars, and I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the strip, to the back sides of the strip of the star, and I'm going to start with my big petal, and I'm going to place it down. Okay, and I'm just going to make sure it's glued down. I don't need it to stick for life just yet, and you don't want to use hot glue for this. I have found that hot glue just really doesn't do well. You want a quick dry glue, and that's why I like this mono adhesive, because it does dry super fast. And I had all of these spread out. Then you're going to go with your next one, and you're going to kind of put it right over the edge right there, just a little bit. You want to kind of cup it in. And come in with your next one. And I'm just making sure. And it's going to slide around a bit until that glue just kind of takes. But that's okay. So the next one, I'm going to kind of come in with, let's see, I've got 3. There's 4. And obviously the more you overlap them and the more petals you put on your base, the wider your flower is going to get. Okay. Did I have one more somewhere? I didn't color it. Oh well, I'll color it later. Cut the bottom off of it. And I'm going to fill in that last one right there. So now this is what I have. Okay? And I need to color that one up. So that's what I have. Now I'm going to come in. This next part gets easier because you've already got your base built. And I can add glue to that in just a few minutes. So we'll just... And Tonya, don't drop them on the floor because you'll be looking for them later. And my floor eats stuff. Okay, so then we come in with the next one. And you want to go where there's crease. You want to kind of plop this one right down in that crease. And continue on building out your flower just like that. And you may only need 5 for this one. It's just a matter of preference. The more petals you use, the fuller your flower is going to get. Okay. Then the next thing you want to do is come back with your small ones. And see, the process kind of comes along. This flower comes together super fast. The hard part is die cutting, and I seriously think just sit in front of your TV one night and just bite the bullet and do it. Oops. One more. Okay, and then this little guy is going to go right there in the center, and we're going to put this aside and we're going to let it dry really good before we come back to it. So let's go ahead and put our basket together. Okay, so he's going to sit off over there to the side and let him finish. That's why I went ahead and had some already pre-made. Now we're going to take and our leaves, we die cut those, and these leaves, you see all this texture on here? Watch this. I'm going to take the sponge sugar and I'm going to run it right over the top of that leaf, and it's going to pick up some of those crinkles and give that so much depth. Look at that. It's a nice subtle touch. Yay, the glue gun's plugged in again. It's hot. So I'm going to just start building out my spray now. Just super simple from here. And then this little flower is going to go right there on top. Look how cute that is already. And my little filigree piece from Marion's Junk and Gems. I'm just going to cut that right in half with my Timmy scissors. These are very thin, so they cut really easily. I'm just going to add that right here. And then we're going to fussy cut out this little butterfly right here. And I'm going to cut around this rose because I could probably use it later. And Actually, I think it would probably be cute tucked in on the other side. But we're just going to cut him out really fast. And where's my glue gun? Put a little bit of glue right there in the center of his body. You don't want his whole oop, a gnat just flew in here. Where does he come from? Oh. Put that right there. And I not like how that sits, so I'm probably going to come back with maybe another. I tell you what, this is a secret. Don't tell anybody I showed you these. They're not going to work. Those are going to be a future blog post, so I'm not showing them to you just yet. Maybe another piece from here. Let's see. Oh, where's that flower I just cut out? We can tuck that guy in there. Actually, I'll probably come back and color this later, but just so you guys can get the idea of, I just love these. Well, I don't like that. Maybe I'll just do this and glue it. This is called Think It on Your Feet, guys. Okay, so let's go back around here to this side, and here's our flower. It should be kind of adhered down. I'm going to take these and spread them out a little bit, and then I'm going to start fussing with these little guys right here. And you can take your tweezers if you want and just kind of give them a little shape, curling them around. Just like that. And you know, take your time and do it right. I'm rushing because it's getting late, but you know, take them and curl them down, and the more you curl them, the better they look. Lift them up, curl them down, and you know, sometimes here's a real good secret. I just take them and squish them up and then just start fluffing them back out again. And I think the real secret is to just fluff up the leaves between them where you glued them down, and just give them a little bit of life between each one. See how that just fluffing it and fussing with it just kind of gives it a little bit of life. And then just take your finger and push these things out like this, and then let's go ahead and decorate this up. We'll do maybe one leaf up this way. Since this is the back, I'm only going to do maybe 2 leaves, and then I can throw another leaf on that front part. Oh, I forgot one other thing. I took the diamond, this is the diamond pearl, no, this is the pearl glimmer mist, and I just spritzed it, and that gave it a nice little shine. Then slap some hot glue there on the back side of that and place it right here. Look at how cute and adorable that is. And then actually, that's not bothering me too bad now. I'm going to just take and cut a little bit of that off and tuck that right there. There we go. That fills the hole in. Look at how gorgeous. Okay, one final touch on our flower, and that is the secret weapon, clear glitter nail polish that I got from the dollar store. It's got gold glitter in it. I came back and I added that right to the top of my stamens, and it just gave it that little bit of extra something something. The secret weapon. I'm using this glitter nail polish on everything. I literally paid, I think, $1.50 for this. It's the cheapest glitter nail polish you could find ever. But make sure when you use it that you use it very in, because it will, you know, it takes a long time to dry. And there you go. There's our little baskets. And then when you add a little bit of this down in here, look at how cute this becomes. And then for the final touch, I just took some of this jute twine from my May Arts, and just a loop, 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 maybe about 6 loops. That's 4. This just has that little bit of organic to it. I didn't bother with the back side of the basket having the metal filigree on it, because I kind of felt like, you know, the metal gets kind of pricey. This is going to a super special someone, so I wanted to, you know, at least add it to the front. You know, if you're making these for a bunch of kids, you might want to tone down some of this. There's a lot of work in this, but I think I might give this to the adult kids of my world. They need a little something special sometimes on Easter morning too, you know. And then I just take this guy and put a little glue on the stem of that. And I'm going to just plop it right down inside of there, and then fluff it out. And then all that's left is to take this negative piece, and I've already put the stamp away, so I'm not going to do it. But down here where this negative piece is, I'm going to take the same punch that I used on the card, or that I used on something, or I guess I don't know if I ever used it, and I'm just going to stamp this out, and then I will stamp my sentiment on it and place it right there. So there you have it, guys. That's it. That's how we did it. And then the last touch, I could do this for hours, you guys, a Wink of Stella pen. If you guys don't have one, you should get one. They're amazing. And then I just kind of went over my butterfly with the Wink of Stella pen just to add a little glitter to the butterfly, and then I added a little more up here to my die cut. And that's it. There's our little basket. So it's a lot of work. It was a lot of work, I'll tell you, but you know, I think we got there, and I think it looks great. Do any of you guys have any questions? Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. We have a giant mess here. Let me move this out of the way so you guys can see. Let me pull my card back out. So if you got this in the mail or whatever with this, wouldn't it just make you super happy? Don't they look beautiful together? Thank you guys. You are the best. And Artie Dar is our big winner tonight. Send me your address, Artie Dar, and it's all yours. Aww. And like I said, for those of you who